Hey, so I just wanted to make another video because I make one like every single day. Maybe not quite, but I actually probably do actually make a video like every day or every other day. I just don't upload them, and a lot of the times they're short, relatively like kind of like invalid. And so I just wanted to make a really quick one. I only have this meeting room for 14 minutes, although nobody's in the office today, it's Friday. Um, so, yeah. What's the status on this one? Well, yesterday I didn't sleep well. Today I didn't sleep well. Um, had some bomb ass weed last night. Um, I'm pretty relaxed today, but I think I've been on an upwards trajectory. And also, I went on the exercise bike for 40 minutes, and I last night, and I biked to exhaustion really, and that was like the first time I'd ever done that. And so I was just kind of in a state where I was like, wow, I don't want to do anything. I just like I'm at my physical end here, and the physical has overpowered the mental too, and I'm exhausted, and I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to fucking sit there, and that to me is like absurdly rare and uncommon. But it felt great. So and I think so far I've exercised on the bike for 40 minutes at a time for about 3 times now, and I would say that each time, the day after, or I think even probably just shortly preceding, but even the day after is feel like so great. And yeah, I haven't been feeling any pain or anything. I haven't really been doing like resistance training. I've been doing just on the exercise bike, like I mentioned, I think. And mostly there, I mean, there's some level of like muscles being used, and sometimes I turn up the intensity, but like the strength or the force required to pedal. But sorry, I had a little pop-up. But generally speaking, I think, yeah, it's mostly just on the cardio front, and it's just like a long time of having your heart beat fast and doing physical exertion of some kind. Yeah, and so that seems to be going quite well, but I am tired today. But basically I've been recording videos because I want to see what's happening with my Voltology, and there are a couple interesting things that I want to kind of observe. The first thing is, I think that generally speaking, I'm probably on a trajectory to go back to 4-stick, reintegrate that TE, and it's been coming. I would say like over the last week or so, or maybe 2 weeks. I don't 1 week. I don't know, and sneeze. And yeah, I would say it's been coming back, and so I know I've been on a trajectory, and I think maybe within the next 2 weeks or something, I'll have TE integrated again, and so that's fun and cool, and yeah. Actually, the position that I have to be in to get decent comfort in framing and everything here is like pretty shit. Right, so I'm just gonna like sit here now, and I'm gonna think in, maybe I should do a random question. I'm gonna do a random question. All right, let me just think of a random question. All right, it's actually a lot harder than I thought. Turns out true randomness is hard to come by. I think I would have to probe in the deep recesses of my mind to find something that has not been recently touched by my memory, and thus not really random and not necessarily serving the purpose that it was supposed to. Oh, I have been thinking a bit more about. It's actually what if the. I think the biggest thing I've been interested in lately is just. What have I been interested in? I don't know. I've been interested in doing better, and then, and I guess talking to people, um, but I've been. And so I kind of set down this whole Carl Jung theory proper versus CT thing, but I'm still keeping it like in the back of my mind, right? And I really noticed yesterday, I think it was, that PI is seriously like subjective perception. And so these PI people, they literally just see things differently. They have a perspective, and it kind of shapes the experience of the data, and something like that, whereas PE keeps it references as little information from the past as possible, and it just tries to get this like objective, quote unquote, well, it is object as in other and not me, and it tries to get that, and just ascertain information from the object with as little bias as possible, or well, with bias only towards getting information from the object. And and PI does the opposite. It literally, like, so PE people, they are more like objective perceivers. They live in the moment, and things happen when they happen, and you just see what you see, and like that's it. And like whenever I see my intuitions, I they're just there. They're not mine. They're just there. And so, like, I'll give an example. Like, I go into an escape room, and I feel like I just. So this happened recently. I just we went to an escape room with my coworkers. It was a team outing. That was pretty fun. And so I like picked up this like one sheet, this like instruction paper thing, and it said, it gave some vague hint, and nobody really knew how to interpret it. And then I read it, and I was just like, oh, I know what to do. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. It's clear, and I don't know, it's like, it's so clear that like there's no ego or anything about it. If anything, it's really just like, how do other people not see this? This is just like so, like, it's like, it's fish swimming in water, right? I see things like this all the time, and it's interesting. So just to contrast that to subjective perception, where now I see like a narrative whenever I look at things, and that it's different. I'm not only seeing what is there, I'm also seeing how it fits with everything, which isn't here, of course. And actually the everything is distilled into timeless themes, because that's too much information to actually make sense of. So it has to be distilled into a theme, into a narrative, which is just kind of the natural structure of how things happen in the world. And so I think both the idea of subjective perception, so I really like Jung's conception of the introverted functions, is that basically there's like, they kind of probe deep into something eternal, timeless, accessible to everyone. That is, I think, the fact that it's accessible to everyone and it's like timeless is such a strong argument. And that basically it comes from like the the collective unconscious, to some degree. It comes from the unconscious, I guess. And basically these people are tapping into the collective unconscious a little bit more, and they're tapping into these timeless, eternal themes and stuff, and yeah, and so I think in some ways, like a lot of the introverted types are alike, and a lot of the extroverted types are alike too, of course, in the sense that they're ruled by the object, and the only things that are real to them are just like what's around them and what society says and stuff, or whatever they're circled with, depending on the individual and the development, etc. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating. And I think before I was kind of thinking that the two theories wouldn't be compatible, but now I think it's. I do think it's seeming more and more every day that CT is actually indeed a predecessor, an extension of Jung's original model. So, I'm not so crazily diving into it now. I have some sense of restraint, but I'm still thinking about it, and it's still very interesting. I've also just started watching the Exodus series from Jordan Peterson, where he gets with a group of some dudes, a couple dudes around the table, and some philosophers, theologians, and some other diverse people of different backgrounds, religions, professions, and they discuss the story of Exodus, and they read out Exodus and then they discuss it. And I'm only 40 minutes into the first episode, but this thing was like fucking crack. I was like, oh my god, this is so. And it doesn't seem. I don't feel super interested thinking about it now. But I will go watch it, and it's just a tiny little hump, not even really. But just when I start watching, it's like, whoa, I'm fixated, and there's no explaining. I've never been interested in the Bible before, but now I have PI, and now I love the Bible. Oh, the Bible is the greatest story of all time, I'm sure. It's gonna be up. It will be up there, I'm sure. Oh, book, I guess. It's not just one story, but okay. Peace.